Another replay from Wolfblade and Coops. Wolfblade on the dwarves versus Coops' dark elves. We do have Grombrindal, the white dwarf. He has the biggest grudging against the dark elves of any of the dwarves. So, for Grombrindal, he did bring his Flash Bomb, the Rune Axe of Grombrindal, Foe Seeker, and then Grombrindal has no fear. He also brought the Rune Helm of Zufbar. Wow, that is a decked out Grombrindal. He has a Runesmith friend, don't see that a lot. Rune of Wrath and Ruin and Rune of Negation. Then a front line of Dwarf Warriors, mixed with Miners of Blasting Charges. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass Regiment around on the far side. Longbeards and Slayers in the back line, with 3 Thunderers for a bit of ranged pressure. For the Dark Elves, front line of Bleak Swords, secondary line of Blackheart Corsairs, triple Shades, 2 Reaper Claw Bolt Throwers. Just Reaper Bolt Throwers. It's the Eagle Claws of the High Elves. I always do that. Then some Dark Riders and a Supreme Sorceress of Dark with the Crows of Cain, Harpy, Regiment of Renown on the high ground. Let's see it. Dwarves with no Thoric Ironbrow. Yogi. Thunderers are here, firing into the backs of the Bleak Swords that are trying to retreat, so now they turn back around to at least use their shields a little bit against the Thunderer fire. And so far, the Dwarves are ignoring the Bolt Throwers. They don't seem too perturbed by what's going on there. Blasting Charge is going to further take out some of the Bleak Swords. Other ones trying to dodge will still take some decent damage from the Blasting Charges before the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass catch up to them. Blackheart Corsairs are in the fight. Another wave of Blasting Charges hits. Maybe routes off the Bleak Swords. A little bit of friendly fire, but shit happens. Crows of Cain are in the back line, but with Slayers here and Thunderers firing in, I think those Crows of Cain are going to have a terrible time. Longbeards and Dwarf Warriors fighting it out. Miners get assaulted by Dark Riders. And even more Dwarves are pouring through the cracks, just heading straight for the Reaper Bolt Throwers. And already some of the Bleak Swords are routing, so a bit of a disaster in the front line for our friends, the Dark Elves. Elsewhere, Dark Riders are trying to get onto the back line, though this one was repulsed by these Miners, taking a lot of damage for its efforts. The other one is currently getting shot by Thunderers as it tries to get around, but the Crows of Cain are just routed off now. Dark Riders get caught a little bit as bullets come tearing through their lines, and they do have to rout. So things going very well for the Dwarves thus far. Miners trying to catch up the Shades. Now the Shades should be able to just kill them in melee. I would like to see some of the Dwarves that can get through the front line walking towards those Reaper Bolt Throwers. Especially like this, like where we have 3 melee units all piled up on top of each other. These Miners and these basic Dwarf Warriors should for sure just be walking menacingly at the Reaper Bolt Throwers. Thunderer is still pressuring the Bleak Swords. Could be firing at the Dark Elf caster, but maybe they just figure she's going to get Soul Stealers anyway, so might as well just kill all the infantry you can. Slayers catch up to some Dark Riders, and Murderous Prowess just pops now, which will give the Dark Elves some leadership to get through these dark times. Again, we have some stacking up of some of the Dwarven infantry units. They do need to be spreading out a bit more and really pressuring the map with their strangely superior numbers over the Dark Elves. You're not used to Dwarves outnumbering anybody. Thunderers tried to fire at the Crows of Cain, but the Crows of Cain got here, so they should be able to heal more damage than they take versus the Thunderers and rout them off. That's a good time for the Dark Elves. Some Slayers will be charging at Dark Riders, who are just too low to get any meaningful damage on these Thunderers. I think the Thunderers will be okay, though there are Shades nearby, which I haven't really talked about the Shades, and judging by their ammunition, they haven't been able to fire too much. Runesmith and his boys just get through the Bleak Swords now, and again, they should separate and walk at different ranged pieces and just be annoying. Breath attack through some of these Longbeards, getting good damage as Grombrindal and his boys walk in a big ol' horde. I'll quit repeating myself, but you know what I think. You know what it is. Grombrindal will get a sideways charge onto these poor Bleak Swords who don't even see it coming. And how could they? He's so short. Bap! Nice big hit. All these dwarves piling in. And the Shades are under a bit of pressure now, starting to fall back a bit. Slayers collapsing in on this area where the Supreme Sorceress of Dark landed. There's going to be a Soul Stealer on all 4 of these units, but as we've talked about in a lot of replays recently, it's not going to do that much damage. Dwarves have Spell Resist, but also Soul Stealer is better versus single entities anyway. It's mostly meant for the heal, which she doesn't need the heal just yet, but it will keep her healthy, I guess. Thunderer is trying to shoot her on her way out, while Slayers keep her on the ground for as long as possible. Bolt Throwers and Shades still firing mostly freely. And the dwarves are getting picked apart in this blob, and I sense a very bad breath attack coming. She's trying to line up for it, it looks like. On the high ground, the runesmith is helping some of his forces rout off random ass corsairs and bleak swords, and miners and dwarf warriors trying to chase down those other shades. There's a breath attack. It's decent. Gonna friendly fire the bleak sword, so still does decent damage. Looks like Grombrindal has no fear was popped. So now that it's gone, those miners are thinking about heading for the hills. Slayer's once again going to sandwich in the Crows of Cain. I feel like we've seen this so many times. They just are having the hardest time to finish off the crows. Goodbye, Crows of Cain. Goodbye. Bolt throwers running with their crews forwards, trying to escape the dwarves. Looks like the dwarves have attack orders onto the shades, so they'll just ignore the bolt thrower crews. Grombrindal is wandering. Slayer's gonna ignore the dragon? Nope, they'll surround her now. They'll get decent damage too, while Thunderers pound into the shades. And the shades have no missile resistance, they have no shield, nothing like that, so take good damage. Take good damage indeed. Grombrindal's getting kited by shades, not loving that. He's trying to regroup with some of his miners. And these Longbeards killed off a Bleak Sword, now they aim for the Bolt Thrower crews. Up on the high ground, Runesmith is still chilling out with some Longbeards, helping them chase some things down. And miners are going to throw a pitiful amount of blasting charges at this lady. Does 0 damage. And then she style swoops in on him because the dragon bug is back. And hopefully will get fixed soon. Anyway, shades are going to get a terrible cost onto the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, while this other Reaper Bolt Thrower is shut down by the dwarves at large. Other dwarves trying to catch out the shades, and it looks like they will surprise this one, though the shades are so elusive and have better melee stats than the dwarf warriors, they'll overall be okay. Unless Grombrindal has a flash bomb for them right now. That would slow them down and lower their melee defense, which could lead to some pretty nasty damage. I wish there was a way to see what's on cooldown. Thunderer is still trying to harass this Dark Elf lady with Slayers defending them. Shades are firing in, though, on the unshielded backs of the Thunderers. Looks like that was a pretty good volley. Overall, for the Dark Elves, it is 3 healthy-ish Shades and a very healthy caster versus Dwarves, who have a bunch of healthy infantry, including some Slayers, and then a Runesmith and Grombrindal. The Thunderers are so wounded, I don't know how much of an impact they're going to have, especially as they're getting dove by more Dark Riders who are trying to just rout them off. We now, at this point in our presentation, we will ×2 speed as the Shades kite the Dwarves for a little bit. One of the Thunders was routed by the Dark Riders, the other one isn't. Up on the high ground, the Dwarves do manage to get a pick. They catch some Shades, and a Rune of Wrath and Ruin does a bunch of damage to them while the Shades try to escape. They're piling into Longbeards who give no ground, and those Shades are massacred at large. Meanwhile, Grombrindal has caught up to these Shades. Smoke Bomb lowering their speed, allowing these Thunderers who have rallied to fire into them, and he himself get a couple little chops. These Shades will stop and fire on the miners. And this lady, of course, keeps fighting Longbeards to the best of her ability. Dwarves are up on the balance of power. I'd be a little concerned if I were the Dark Elves. The last thing the Supreme Sorceress ever wants to do is just sit and fight random infantry. Dragon Lords in general don't clear out infantry particularly fast. Shades still getting chased by the Dwarves. There are Slayers up here, and Slayers can mostly keep up with Shades. The other stuff should give up and leave. Unless the Runesmith... Does he have the slow? No. Okay, yeah, I'll let the Slayers deal with it. I don't know if the Runesmiths have to be here. Thunder is trying to fire at the Supreme Sorceress of Dark, while these Shades who are attempting to kite get caught yet again by the Dwarf Warriors and the Miners, and of course Grombrindal. If the other Shades will escape during this time, they'll probably turn around and fire to try and free their brethren. Dragon Lady is here for the Thunderers at last. She's sick of their shit, and those other Shades did manage to rally while the Runesmith and his boys try and regroup. Thunderer routes yet again. That Thunderer that I'm pointing at right now is routed multiple times, so I wonder if she charges it. Do they shatter? They routed. They're terror routing though, so I'll see if they shattered in a second. Like I said, Shades did escape, and they are now firing sideways. They routed the Miners already. They're looking for the Dwarf Warriors. The Thunderers did not shatter, but they will just be chased by the Dark Elf. Spooky, spooky lady. Shades get a nasty volley onto the Dwarf Warriors. Maybe going to rout them soon, and Grombrindal continues his pursuit. Other Shades firing at more Longbeards. Dwarf Warriors are going to chase them down. Still have a good number of Slayers for this point in the game. How many breath attacks do you have? 0. Oof, that's brutal. Flash Bomb is out. 17 speed on these shades, allowing Grombrindal to catch up to them, though he is going to get pin cushioned while he does so. Still get some decent damage out. And the Thunderers being gone is a lot of the easy damage the dwarves can get poking at the shades. Also off the field. Grombrindal 10 speed slower than the shades. Unless he gets some crazy charge shenanigans, he's not going to get very far. On the high ground, the dwarves have routed those shades yet again, so they can route them one more time. That is a shatter. Slayer's rejoining Grombrindal. I really would have liked to see a Flash Bomb at some point paired with a Slayer charge, or the Dwarf Warriors or Longbeards or something. But so far it seems like the Smoke Bombs only come down when Grombrindal is the only guy with any shot of catching up to the Shades. A little bit more kiting, so I will fast forward. On the high ground, Shades have rallied yet again and are trying to regroup with their team while the other Shades run away. And now they support the Dragon Lady. Shades on the high ground have shattered. The Slayer is going to take a good bit of damage, as a Soul Stealer also hits them. At least this time the Supreme Sorceress does need some healing. So it's a little more fine, as the Slayers get really good damage onto the Shades while dying out. Pretty great stuff for them. That is a good way to die, little Slayer friends. No Shades only have 21 models left. Other Shades continue to try and kite it out versus more Slayers and Grombrindal. There, finally, we get a Flash Bomb that locks them in place, lowers their melee defense, and Slayers eat them alive. Goodbye. But on the high ground, a counter snipe from the Dragon Lord dives in. Someone just shattered or died outright, but Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards getting Soul Stealered as the Dragon Lady tries to kill off the Runesmith. It looks like the dragon might be alone. We have Shades with 0 leadership in the distance that it might come back. Grombrindal's at half health. His Slayers are almost dead, but still have 22 models. And these Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards are holding for now to fight against the Sorceress of the Darkness. A little fast forward as she grinds through. And Shades are officially gone, so it's just her. It's her versus 102 Dwarves. She is hitting the Runesmith. Terror routs him. Might tear out the Dwarf Warriors in short order. We'll see. Big charge. Hits him. Doesn't knock him over. And she continues to chase after him. Hits him yet again, as he throws down a Rune of Wrath and Ruin under her, which looks cool more than it does anything, but I suppose might as well. Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards trying their best to stop this dragon that is just raffle stomping over their poor Runesmith. He's not shattered yet. At 68 HP, he is fine, and he's dead. But he was fine. Smoke Bomb lowers her melee defense to 22, but a charge attack keeps her off the ground and moving so that the dwarves will have a hard time catching up to her. Does she have another Soul Stealer that could kill a lot of these units and heal her a ton, or not? No, her healing cap's within sight, and there is a Soul Stealer, actually. Yeah, so both things are true. She cancels it with the Opal Amulet for the damages, and she needs to get that Soul Stealer out. She's taking a bunch of damage, and a Soul Stealer against such low HP units would actually kill a significant amount of them. But she needs to cast it. She canceled the cast. We know it's off cooldown. You need to cast it, lady. There's a Soul Stealer, but it might be too late for her leadership. That Opal Amulet might cost her a lot. There's the Soul Stealer. It is damage and healing she desperately needed. The balance of power is clawing back towards her as Grombrindal is currently whooping her ass. Dwarf Warriors had routed, are trying to come back now, but the Rune Axe of Grombrindal, the discouraged aura on it, almost made her rout. But she is back for now, desperately fighting. What are we left here? 21 Longbeards, 5 Slayers, and Grombrindal. Yeah, she might be doomed. Balance power's back to about even, but she is dead. And that is a GG. Winning without Thoric. Grombrindal did alright. Runesmith did alright. Slayers both did great. Thunderers overall did fine. Longbeards and Dwarf Warriors did pretty well. Miners, Blasting Charges did pretty darn well. For Koops, his Dragonlord did awesome. Reaper Bolt Throwers did okay. Black Arc Corsairs did okay. Bleak Swords really struggled to get any value. Shades did alright. Yeah, they did alright. Dark Riders struggled to get any value, and the Crows of Cain did alright. GG. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.